particular the name of all world religions, but moreover, in more than 120 religions, you have the golden rule. The golden rule, which says, also in Confucianism, it's expressed the best, I think. Yeah. Do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. He began to make research work and to study the different world religions, because his point of view and his starting point was no peace among the nations without peace among the religions. No peace among the religions without dialogue between the religions. No dialogue between the religions without global ethical standards. And no survival of our globe without a global ethic supported by both religious and non-religious people. This was his starting point. And now he began, it was in 1980, and he said that he inflicted was the prohibition, and then he studied the world religions. According to this, what they are separated of, and what they have in common. And he found out that there are, of course, there are many differences as to the God image, as to the rights, as to the content of faith, yes? But what they have in common, it is in ethics, you see? They have common ethic principles. And this was very interesting to know. And he made he published a big book, Tracing the Way, and also a video and so on. And afterwards, he was invited by the Parliament of World Religions to draft a declaration towards a global ethic. And this was done after many discussions and consultations with our persons and so on. The Parliament of World Religions is an assembly, a gathering of religious people, which gathered for the first time in 1893 in Chicago during an exhibition on Columbus, a world exhibition in Columbus. And afterwards, many representatives of many religions gathered there, but after 100 years, nothing happened. And they met again in 1993, and this draft of Hans Küng was discussed, and afterwards, on the 4th of September in 1993, it was adopted by the Parliament of World Religions. It was signed by the Council of the Parliament. There are gathered 200 representatives of important religions in the presence of 7,000 people in Chicago, and this is our document, our charter, if you want, our foundation charter of our movement. We are not yet a movement, but we hope to become one. And yes, and in this exhibition now, in order to speak on the exhibition, this exhibition consists of 12 panels. And in this exhibition, he wants to show, and it is also a pedagogical aim, the most important ethical principles of the world religions, and you can compare them. But you have it here, and you can compare that in reality it's true that they agree in different ethical principles. Taking back, of course, not killing, not stealing, not lying, and no abuse of sexuality, or yes, can be said in this way. And also Hans Küng studied also the indigenous religions, but they are not represented here because they have no scriptures. It's very difficult to represent it. And he begins with Hinduism, Buddhism, Chinese religion, Judaism, and, Christianity and Islam. And beginning with Hinduism, you have here, the name of Hinduism is invented by Europeans for Indian religions. The Indians speak of their religion more of an eternal order. This is not a system of laws and dogmas and so on. It is a kind of cosmic order, where the different believers and so on, and the members are embedded, and also have to bring them into this order. Therefore, they have responsibilities more than rights. They have responsibilities versus the family, versus the community, and God and the gods. And you have here the virtues of yoga way. You see? Non-violence, doing no harm, truthfulness, not stealing, chastity, purity of life, and lack of desire. Virtues of the yoga way. Very interesting are the humanism arose. The Chinese humanism and Confucius and Lao Tse. Lao Tse founded more Taoism. Tao is the way, and is more a philosophical, mystical religion, and is also stressing the unity of cosmos and so on, and the unity of nature. And Confucius is the rational one. Rationality is stressed. And thus became, it was also the era of enlightenment, it can be said, you see. And of course, there are discussions whether Confucianism is a religion. And it is all, I was told by a Chinese scientist that when Chinese are Confucians, because during Maoism it was forbidden Confucianism, but it's returning now. And when Chinese are Confucians, are religious, they are Confucians, yes? And therefore he himself said that it is a religion. But of course there are discussions. When we had this exhibition in the in the United Nations of Vienna, there was a Chinese woman who said, no, it is a wisdom, it is a philosophy. Yeah? You can live. It's not so important. And it is the beginning of humanism, because Confucius differed between good and evil, between humanity and inhumanity. Yes, and beyond good and evil, there is nothing in the Chinese religion as it is by Nietzsche, for instance. Yes? And he only differs between human and inhuman. And humanity is for him mutuality, of course, loving care, goodness, benevolence, and so on. And the rest is inhuman, and therefore all is good. What helps man to become better, to become to become more human. You see? And he also has the Confucian virtues. You have here the Confucian virtues. Proper behavior, humanity, doing one's duty, knowing, he was a civil servant, because yes, the foundations of Confucian ethics are superior, subordinate. You see, he was a civil servant, but he is also doing one's duty, knowing what is right, reciprocal care of others, respectful feeling the obligations of a child. You see, the you can compare it with the virtues of the yoga way. And you have more or less the same. And here you have also famous sayings of the analects of Confucius.